But I don't know if it's also whether it's culture or because that was my observation. Like in African culture, there's the good, about it that when your elders tell you to do something, you do it. We're not discussing. I'm just informing you that this is what we're doing, And then I noticed that very different, like when you have Caucasian friends or who are very young, like could even be like children. If they don't want something, they don't want something. And that's the end of the story. It's not but it's for us to like, hey, you've just said you're not going, So I think we grow up in this space of, even especially with family, the boundaries, especially with family. So for my experience, people pleasing, queen, I was queen of it, I was, So for me, at night I can say, now I'm trying, but what has really helped is my husband, because for him it's like, no. Do you really want to do it? No. But now the family is saying we have to. It's like we're not doing and we're not doing, and there's just nothing. Then I realized, you mean we can say no?
So he's the spokesman.
So it actually taught me that there just in some things, if you don't really want to do it, because you use so much energy, like, no, okay, now we need to go. But do you want to go? Do you want to do this? Actually, no. Then why? Why are we stressing ourselves?
What I also
I just thought you can say no. It had never occurred to me that you can actually say no.
When you're a compliant child, that doesn't even come up. But
so the people who love you, is what I realized, will always appreciate that you're taking care of yourself.
Yes.
So they will not be annoyed that you're not sacrificing yourself for them, right? The fact that you're taking care of yourself. People who love you and want the best for you will be okay with it.
Very true,
You know how I learned to say no? Because I realized I also struggled with that at some point. But then somebody told me, I can't remember, it was a friend of mine told me, say no first to things before you say yes. Because when you say yes, it's very hard to double back and change. So if you commit to something, you can now pull out.
But you can always go back.
But if you say no, you can say, you know what, I've thought about it, I'm okay. So even the way they receive that will be different. But if you say yes and then you pull out, you're also messing up other people's plans and things like that. But if you say no, they'll be so excited when you change. So for me, there was a season, because I knew it was impossible to say no. So I'll just say no. I just be like, no. Then I'd always come back and say yes. But now, of course, I'm a bit better. I can say no and yes. But I remember I used to struggle with that a lot,
And it's interesting listening to you and your spouse and the subject of love that, even in a romantic situation, if you have selected a friend to be your husband and for the men, a wife, then they should really help you become a better version of yourself, And so it's wonderful listening to you. It also reminds me of my experience the first year of getting married, because I used to think every weekend, this weekend, we're going to visit your people. Next weekend, my people. Then the other weekend, I had this whole idea. He said, we're going to know. You're not going today. We cannot go every weekend. When do we build our culture? And I was like, there's a culture to be built. And I was like, wow, where did you get those ideas from? See, we are from the two cultures. So we just continue those. It's like, no, we also need time. We also need time to just be. And because we had very high energy jobs at the time, the weekend was really necessary for us to, and it's interesting now, even when we have some very hectic weekends, because those come up, I'll see our children actually saying, that was a hectic weekend, I need some downtime. I'm like, and I guess they've taken that from us. And so you're absolutely right that, the people we surround ourselves, they love us. They also teach us by their example or by helping us set boundaries. And in so doing, we then become better versions, kind of our next best selves in a sense. The idea of people pleasing, for me, I was also in that, I was, top of the class in that class. That WhatsApp group. But what I realized over time is you actually can get sick.
Yes.
And not only physically sick, but emotionally sick of things. And to get to a point where you can easily burn out. I started learning what are the triggers. What are the triggers that are making me feel I'm not happy with this situation. So it would be small things, snapping, or I want to throw away my phone. I don't want anyone to ask me anything anymore. And I'm like, I'm not going to put myself in those shoes of wanting to help everyone. And so I was like, let's backtrack this and let's see. Okay, so what is it that I am gaining from saying yes to everybody and people who you honor in one way or the other? And I think it's going back to the idea of worthiness. That if I say no, will I not be worthy of their love? If I say no, will I not be worthy of their friendship, worthy of their respect, worthy of their time? But I tell you, it's actually later on, I mean, many years later, is when I realized that you can say no for a higher yes. You see, so I'm saying no, I'm not able to do this because my higher yes is I need to honor myself, I need to honor my family, I need to honor my husband. So we're not coming for this event. I'm so sorry. We'll catch up another time. And I don't need to explain why, but I just need to be, over-explaining is another thing, yeah? Now, but because, and I know what got me going, I'm like, after I've explained myself, they don't even see the point. They're like, only that. And I'm like, gosh, it's such an important thing for me. So again, I'm still seeking validation. So I learned you can say no thoughtfully. You can say no respectfully. You can just say, no, I'm so sorry, I'm not able to do that. Or I'm so sorry, if I do that, I won't give you my 100% attention. Also to say no in a way that doesn't necessarily hurt the other person, but also honors them. And in so doing, even with clients, you see. But since we're in the business of love here, especially with people we love, it's really to honor them also in the way we say the no. So not just no and just walk away. I think that's a bit rough, and to say it in such a way that it also can help them reflect, and maybe it's a coaching moment for them to say, oh, actually, must I always say yes to those things? So say no for a higher purpose.
Another thing I think about self-love that I think we should talk about a bit more is this masterpiece idea, because I think that the radical self-acceptance, there's things like, I think, discovering ourselves, who we want to be, how we want to be. The whole theme of this show is be you. I think that's the highest form of payback to God, is to be completely, wholeheartedly, fully yourself, because he didn't make you with any mistakes. We said that the other day, right? We are a masterpiece. There's all our good and all our bad is useful somehow.
All our good and all our bad.
It took me a while to realize that even my bad side is useful, and in some cases, you know what I mean? All things are relative in a way. But I think this is, again, I think where I have issues with school, because I think that's where the standardization started with, we all need to be like this. Or,
Yeah, I think I can relate to that. Even being told, maybe you don't do so well on a test. You're reaching your full potential. You're just having a bad, teenage season. Things are just not working.
You're just not good enough, right?
Told by every single person. No, you can do better. I know you can do better. So you're wondering, okay, where is this better? I thought I gave my everything.
And this idea of peer pressure as well, like fitting in. But fitting into what? We're all so uniquely different. I wish we could really embrace it. Like when I look at nature, or I look at birds, or I look at the garden, I think that, everything is just beautiful. It does not it doesn't have to be the same. I have the same issue with standardization in production of products and things like that. I also think it's a bit strange to have the same tomato paste exactly the same all the time. Tomatoes taste different. They're different all the time. The sun is different, whatever. So I don't know, but we try to do it with people as well, that we have to be like this, right? And so I think also we struggle to love ourselves when we're trying to fit into other people's molds. We want to be like what society wants us to be. So that courage to find who we are authentically and then express that is also quite rare.
No, just what you were saying about when you're in class and you're told you need to do better and do better. So I was listening to a TED talk. I can't remember exactly the words. I can't paraphrase, but the guy was talking about just how we talk to our kids and young people. Someone can be doing an exam and kids are doing exams, and some are better than the others, and then you come and tell them you could do better, and he's like, no, don't say that. How do you know they didn't do better, or they didn't do their best.
Exactly.
You see, so now they are giving you their best, but we are telling them your best is not enough. So he just said, avoid saying such things, because kids are very different, and kids learn very differently in different environments, and they thrive in other environments, you know.
Yeah.
So just identify where your kid is per se, and affirm them again. Just affirm.
Yeah.
Just because they failed a test doesn't define anything, doesn't make them less or less worthy. Because again, if you think about it, even now with the whole, not to go political, but people talking about degrees, and stuff like that, and it's like that's the culture, and that's why everyone is fighting for a degree. But at the end of the day, like I had a degree, for example, but I never used it to do anything. So, but I thought that was when I'll get the approval of my parents, and then you still try to get there, but you're not getting it, and then you're thinking, what more? What more can I do? So it goes back again to you just sitting back and saying, you know what, it's okay.
And it's having the courage to design for yourself what it is you want to have. You know, you don't have to fit into any boxes. This is what I think, but I think I'm also a little bit radical. I mean, maybe there are some boxes we need to fit into. I don't know. I'm sure there's some boxes. There's some boxes, yeah. But it's about us choosing for ourselves who we want to be, how we want to be it, and then being okay with our own approval. It doesn't have to, we don't have to get approval from others for it to be okay.
So you know the point you brought up of our children, and you know how they need to learn and kind of listen to the true north. I think it's also a question of, can we self-parent? Because we all have an inner child. And then when I think about our coaching training, it was very much around helping people also heal. Because you have an inner child who may be still struggling with certain things. But also I think that when you think about parenting, leading, everyone is kind of trying to do the best they can with what they know. So we could blame people for not having showed up as they should, but maybe there's a piece there around healing, around forgiveness, around having mercy on others and ourselves. Because, you know, I think that many people, this idea of love is kind of battered down by guilt and shame. And the guilt and shame of, I didn't do as well as I could have, I should have, even that language. But going back to the example of you know, this young, beautiful girl who's dating a guy who's beating her, throwing her out of the car. And I think she's a representative of many people. So I don't think she's a unique case, which I think is tragic. And it goes back to, if you're in a situation where you are already being violated, you owe it to yourself to speak up to someone you trust. Anybody who can help you, because it's almost like a downward spiral. From what I see looking at cases of abuse, it's almost like they still think this person loves them in a twisted kind of way. So it's almost like purifying, what does love actually mean? Starting with loving myself, from keeping myself safe, psychologically and physically safe. You see, and being able to do that in a way that takes courage. So I want to go back to the idea of love and friendship, because I think friendship is so underrated. And I've got so busy in life and WhatsApp groups and all sorts of things that we don't call people, we don't meet up and have eyeball-to-eyeball conversations like we're having here. And my mom has always told me, waste time with your friends. Because, waste time with your friends. My Sarah, take me to that wedding. Isn't that how it used to be? How is it that now, okay, the card only admits one? Oh man, let me ask you if I can come with a +1, you know? So let's go, because it can't be that it's in the restaurants or in the formal settings that our friendship grows. It's in come with me for that baptism. You know what, there's this funeral prayer meeting. Can you take me? You know, even to have the I don't know, the license, psychological license to call up your friend and say, man, we just need to catch up quickly and take me as, because we can't sit down as I'm going to pick my daughter, or I'm going to do I don't know what. Let's go. And
Timing out.
and it's kind of wasting time that you don't have to be doing something specific. But I think that there's an absence of good friendships, and maybe people don't know how to build friendships anymore because it's become very much an exploitative kind of what can I gain from you, what can I get out of you. But imagine if we learned to love, now going beyond ourselves, and now make good friends with our family members, with that sister, that brother, that whoever it is. And I think being a friend has everything to do with being interested in the other person, serving the other person, and then being vulnerable to say that I'm struggling with this, what do you think? And then I think we would save so many more lives that sometimes go down the downward spiral of something called love, which is called something else, which is really something, whether it's abuse or something else. If you have a good friend, and you don't need to have many, one or two, who can help you also see, you don't deserve this. What's going on that's making you stick here? What is it that's keeping you stuck? And how can I help you grow, move, shed light on this situation, and kind of just exhale and make some courageous decision. And out of that, another life will be saved. Because I think also there are very many living dead. People just walking around, but they died a long time ago. But it's also because the light of love kind of died in their souls and their hearts. And there's an opportunity for us to shed light, which is why we're here. Because of the DU.
So it's kind of going back to what you were saying about that you feel the love within you when you give love to others. It's so true, actually.